Welcome back. We're back into our study of Jubilees. Chapters 24 through 28 will be covered today. It's Jacob and Esau, the bulk of the story today. Thank you for letting me have a week off. I enjoyed the Festival of New Wine, but I'm happy to be back here in Jubilees again. We start in chapter 24, and Esau is going to sell his birthright. I know that we're all familiar with the story from Genesis. It starts in chapter 25 of Genesis, and it starts in chapter Jubilees, chapter 24. These stories are a bit different, and I'm gonna point those out. Starting in verse 1, and it came to pass after the death of Abraham that Yahuwah blessed Isaac his son, and he arose from Hebron and went and dwelt in the well of the vision in the first year of the third week of this Jubilee 7 years. Verse 2, and in the first year of the fourth week, a famine began in the land, besides the first famine, which had been in the days of Abraham. Now, this is missing from Genesis, the fact that there was this bad famine like had been back in the days of Abraham. And you remember the famine in the days of Abraham, he and Sarah went to Egypt. This should be a familiar pattern. I remember when we went over the story of Abraham and Sarah, at some point I said, they're setting the pattern for all their children to follow. And here it is. It's Isaac's time of having a famine. So if Esau is hungry, it's because there's a famine, and there may not be a bunch of animals for him to go shoot with his bow and arrow. Verse 3, and Jacob sawed some lentil pottage, and Esau came from the field hungry. And he said to Jacob his brother, give me of this red pottage. And Jacob said to him, sell me your primogeniture this, or his birthright, and I will give you bread, and also some of the lentil pottage. Now, primogeniture, when you read it up, was in the brackets in the book, it said it's the state of being the firstborn child. Now remember that Jacob is already aware that Abraham has chosen him and given him a blessing, not his brother Esau. Verse 4, and Esau said in his heart, I shall die. Of what profit to me is this birthright? And he said to Jacob, I give it to you. And Jacob said, swear to me this day. And he swore unto him. And Jacob gave his brother Esau bread and pottage, and he ate till he was satisfied. And Esau despised his birthright. For this reason was Esau's name called Edom, on account of the red pottage which Jacob gave him for his birthright. Verse 7, and Jacob became the elder, and Esau was brought down from his dignity. Now we're going to talk about this on the changing of the name on Monday night. Genesis does mention that therefore his name was called Edom. And I'm going to talk about, just go into, some of the Paleo-Hebrew there. Okay, so continuing, verse 8, and the famine was over the land. Genesis does admit that there was a famine in the land, but it tells you now, Genesis is telling you that now, after the Jacob and Esau exchange with the red lentils and giving away the birthright. It doesn't put that story in the context of there's a really bad famine and Esau could be starving. So, and Jacob's the one that has some grain stored up, some beans stored up. Hint, hint. Okay. So Jubilee says, and the famine was all over the land, and Isaac departed to go down into Egypt in the second year of this week. So he's headed to Egypt, same story, and went to the king of the Philistines to Gerar unto Abimelech. And Yahuwah appeared unto him and said to him, go not down into Egypt, dwell in this land, and I shall tell you of and sojourn in this land, and I will be with you and bless you. For to you and your seed will I give all this land, and I will establish my oath, which I swore unto Abraham your father, and I will multiply your seed as the stars of heaven, and I will give you your seed all this land. And in your seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed, because your fathers obeyed my voice and kept my charge and my commandments and my laws and my ordinances and my covenant, and now obey my voice and dwell in this land. So Genesis does not show, like I mentioned, how the famine, it shows the famine happening now, after the birthright selling. And I want you to think about how later on Jacob did not want to go down to Egypt. See, he has to go too, out of fear. And Joseph later was sold into slavery. So everyone is being challenged with having to go down into Egypt after a famine. Okay, now Isaac and Abimelech. Genesis has a section here where Isaac is telling Abimelech that Rebekah is his sister. They're doing the same thing in Genesis that Abraham and Sarah did. Okay, and it's not in Jubilees. So we have the same lying going on that's not in Jubilees. And I just find that just, pretty amazing. So Jubilees doesn't have all the sister wife stuff in it. And when I read some articles about the sister wives, many historians and researchers use the information in Genesis that's not in Jubilees as their evidence for saying that Abraham and Sarah belong to the Horites, priest of On, who hold as this as a pattern. This was in an article I was reading, and I made my notes here to myself that these people are using the Genesis as their evidence to put Abraham and Sarah belonging to this group, but it's not in the story of Jubilees. So, continuing with Jubilees. And he dwelt in Gerar 3 weeks of years, and Abimelech charged concerning him and concerning all that was his, saying, any man that shall touch him or aught that is shall surely die. And Isaac waxed strong among the Philistines, and he got many possessions, oxen, sheep, camels, and asses, and a great household. So his herds and his flocks grew, and he's growing in possessions and stature, just as Yahuwah does bless people. Okay, verse 15. And he sowed in the land of the Philistines and brought in 100-fold, and Isaac became exceedingly great, and the Philistines envied him. Now all the wells which the servants of Abraham had dug during the life of Abraham, the Philistines had stopped them after the death of Abraham and filled them with earth. And Abimelech said to Isaac, go you from us, for you are much mightier than we. And Isaac departed there in the first year of the 7th week and sojourned in the valley of Gerar. So the Philistines are jealous. They don't want him around. The wells of Abraham, they had stopped up and filled up with earth. So Isaac is forced to leave. Verse 18. So Isaac moves and says, and they digged again the wells of water which the servants of Abraham his father had digged, and which the Philistines had closed after the death of Abraham his father. And he called their names as Abraham his father had called them. 19. And the servants of Isaac dug a well in the valley and found living water. And the shepherds of Gerar strove with the shepherds of Isaac, saying, the water is ours. And Isaac called the name of this well Perversity, because they had been perverse with us. And they dug a second well, and they strove for that also. And he called its name Enmity. Now that's the same name that was put between the seeds in Genesis. Chapter 3. And he arose from there, and they digged another well, and for that they strove not. And he called the name of it Room. And Isaac said, now Yahuwah has made room for us, and we have increased in the land. I thought it was interesting that they found living waters. Okay, verse 21. And he went up from there to the well of the oaths in the first year of the first week, 44th Jubilee, and Yahuwah appeared to him that night on the first day of the first month. So we are at the New Year's Day in the spring. And this is when he comes to Isaac and said to him, I am Yahuwah, the Almighty of Abraham your father. Fear not, for I am with you, and shall bless you, and shall surely multiply your seed as the sand of the earth for the sake of Abraham my servant. And he built an altar there, which Abraham his father had first built, and he called upon the name of Yahuwah, and he offered sacrifice to the Almighty of Abraham his father. And they digged a well, and they found living water. You can't miss the symbolism in here of Yahushua going into the temple saying, come ask him of the living water. I think it's interesting that Jubilees is emphasizing that they keep finding living water in Abraham's wells. 25. And the servants of Isaac digged another well and did not find water. And they went and told Isaac that they had not found water. And Isaac said, I have sworn this day to the Philistines, and this thing has been announced to us. Now, we're about to head into this section where I think something's wrong in the text. It's not flowing. And I don't mean a pun with that because of the living water, but something's wrong here to me. And if you think the text reads just fine, let me know in the comments. Or if you see the same thing I'm seeing, let me know that you too think something's odd going on in here. I don't know what's removed, but something's about to happen. And I ran it past Joshua before I even recorded this, and he agreed with me. Okay, so in verse 25, Isaac is saying, I have sworn this day to the Philistines, and something has been announced. Verse 26, and he called the name of that place the well of the oath. For there he had sworn to Abimelech and Ahuzah, his friend, and Pichol, the prefect or the host. Now, it was already called the well of the oath. This is not new, you see. This is already a name that was given in Jubilees, and I don't know why the text is saying, and he called it that name. It should have already had that name because Jubilees says he was calling things the same thing that Abraham called them. 27, and Isaac knew that day that under constraint he had sworn to them to make peace with them. Now, if you're looking at the screen here and instead of just listening to this, you'll see that Genesis has got a whole bunch of text here at first, and Jubilees doesn't have anything. Now, in the book of Genesis, Isaac is making a pact with Abimelech and Ahuzath, and it's a pact that says, let us make a covenant with you that you will not do us no harm, just as we have not touched you and have done nothing to you, but good, and have sent you away in peace. You are now the blessed of Yahuwah. So they want a compact of peace. And they said, we've not done anything bad to you. And in Jubilees, it's saying that Isaac knew that he was under constraint. He was being forced into a covenant to make peace with them. And you don't see that in the Genesis text, because in Genesis, in verse 30, it says, so Isaac made them a feast, and they ate and drank, and in the morning they rose early and exchanged oaths. And Isaac sent them on their way, and they departed from him in peace. That same day, Isaac's servants came and told him about the well they had dug, and said to him, we have found water, and he called its name Sheba. Therefore, the name of that city is called Beersheba today. Well, what's odd is that in Jubilees, the name of that place was already called Beersheba. It's already been called that. And that's what is sticking out to me. It's odd that in Jubilees, it's saying, oh, now it's called the well of the oath because Isaac made an oath, but it was already called that. And now a town is getting named, but it already had that name. So, and Isaac in Jubilees is saying, I'm making a covenant, but I'm forced into it. And Genesis makes it sound like everything was just fine. Because what happens next in Jubilees is missing in Genesis. Okay? I'm going to read Genesis to you, but this is not in Genesis. I'm going to read Jubilees, verse 28. And Isaac on that day cursed the Philistines and said, cursed be the Philistines unto the day of wrath and indignation. From the midst of all the nations, may Yahuwah make them a derision and a curse and an object of wrath and indignation in the hands of sinners, the Gentiles, and in the hands of the Kettim. I mean, So the constraint meant I was forced to do this, and they're out of here now, and now I'm going to curse them. Verse 29, and whoever escapes the sword of the enemy and the Kittim, may the righteous nation root out in judgment from under the heaven. For they shall be enemies and foes of my children throughout their generations upon the earth. I mean, that would come through into this day. And no remnant shall be left of them, nor one that shall be saved on the day of the wrath of judgment. For destruction and rooting out and expulsion from the earth is the whole seed of the Philistines. And there shall no longer be left for these Caphtorim a name or a seed on the earth. For though he ascend unto heaven, there shall he be brought down. And though he make himself strong on the earth, there shall he be dragged forth. And though he hide himself amongst the nations, even from there shall he be rooted out. And though he descend into Sheol, there also shall his condemnation be great. And there also shall he have no shalom. And if he go into captivity by the hands of those that seek his life, shall they slay him on the way. And neither name nor seed shall be left to him on the earth, for into eternal malediction shall he depart. And thus it is written engraved concerning him on the heavenly tablets, to do to him on the day of judgment, so that he may be rooted out of the earth. Now, this is quite a statement, a couple of cursings here from Isaac onto the Philistines. You'd have to put that in the prophecy section and ponder. We can talk about it Monday night. Why are these two books this different, and who are these Philistines? That's just a big question mark. Okay, we're going to continue. Esau's wives. Now, Jubilees, like again noted here, it doesn't focus on the chosen only on the chosen covenant line. So Jubilees does not talk about who Esau goes and marries. Continuing in Jubilees, we have a big section where Rebekah instructs Isaac. Now, this whole section is missing from Genesis. I would have to say, as a woman, boy, you really don't want to know that women actually could be filled with the Ruach HaKodesh, and they could bless their sons and their grandsons. And I guess they don't want to have a woman speaking in that capacity, but Jubilees has all what I'm about to read you. This is chapter 25. And in the second year of this week, in this Jubilee, Rebekah called Jacob her son and spoke to him, saying, My son, do not take you a wife of the daughters of Canaan, as Esau your brother, who took him 2 wives of the daughters of Canaan, and they have embittered my soul with all their unclean deeds, for all their deeds are fornication and lust, and there is no righteousness with them, their deeds are evil. And I, my son, love you exceedingly, and my heart and my affection bless you every hour of the day and watch of the night. And now, my son, hearken to my voice, and do the will of your mother, and do not take you a wife of the daughters of this land, but only of the house of my father, and of my father's kindred. You shall take a wife of the house of my father. And the Most High Yahuwah will bless you, and your children will be a righteous generation and a Kodesh seed. And then spoke Jacob to his mother, and said to her, Behold, mother, I am 9 weeks of years old, and I neither know, nor have I touched any woman, nor have I betrothed myself to any, nor even think of taking me a wife of the daughters of Canaan. For I remember, mother, the words of Abraham our father, for he commanded me not to take a wife of the daughters of Canaan, but to take me a wife from the seed of my father's house and my kindred. I have heard before that daughters have been born to Laban your brother, and I have set my heart on them to take a wife from amongst them. And for this reason I have guarded myself in my spirit against sinning and being corrupted in all my ways throughout all the days of my life. For with regard to lust and fornication, Abraham my father gave me many commands. And despite all that he has commanded me, these 22 years my brother has striven with me, and spoken frequently to me, and said, My brother, take a wife a sister of my 2 wives, but I refuse to do so as he has done. I swear before you, mother, that all the days of my life I will not take me a wife of the daughters of the seed of Canaan, and I will not act wickedly as my brother has done. Fear not, mother. Be assured I shall do your will and walk in uprightness, and I will not corrupt my ways forever. And thereupon she lifted her face to heaven and extended the fingers of her hands and opened her mouth and blessed the Most High Yahuwah, who had created the heaven and the earth, and she gave him thanks and praise. Now, I want to just note here that it says the Most High Yahuwah. And when I've looked in the Dead Sea Scrolls, Abraham is praying to El Elyon, which would be the Most High, but not have Yahuwah after it, just so you know. Verse 12. And she said, Blessed be Yahuwah Almighty, and may his Kodesh name be blessed forever and ever, who has given me Jacob as a pure son and a Kodesh seed, for he is yours, and yours shall his seed be continually and throughout all generations forevermore. Bless him, O Yahuwah, and place in my mouth the blessing of righteousness, that I may bless him. And verse 14 says, And at that hour, when the spirit of righteousness descended into her mouth, so now she's speaking through the power of the Ruach, she placed both her hands on the head of Jacob and said, Blessed are you, Yahuwah of righteousness and sovereign ruler of all the ages, and may he bless you beyond all the generations of men. May he give you, my son, the path of righteousness and reveal righteousness to your seed. And may he make your sons many during your life, and may they arise according to the number of the months of the year. And may their sons become many and great beyond the stars of heaven, and may the numbers be more than the sands of the sea. And may he give them this goodly land, as he said he would give it to Abraham and to his seed after him many and always, and may they hold it as a possession forever. And may I see born unto you, my son, blessed children during my life, and a blessed and Kodesh seed may all your seed be. And as you have refreshed your mother's spirit during her life, the womb of her that bare you blesses you. And my breast bless you, and my mouth and my tongue praise you greatly. Now remember, she's giving a blessing to Jacob. I mean, the very one that Abraham blessed years earlier. 20. Increase and spread over the earth, and may your seed be perfect in the joy of heaven and earth forever, and may your seed rejoice, and on the great day of shalom, may it have shalom. I'm going to stop here at verse 20. This is not in Genesis, okay? And here, Rebekah is instructing Isaac to spread over all the earth. Now, we don't get to see the source text to know what word is there, but this is not in line with Noah and his sons, who curse those who step out of their boundary lines, and that, people even today argue about all this, and people are being shipped all over the world too. And I just found it interesting that in this verse, Rebekah, it's like she's saying something and it doesn't fit with the telling Isaac, just stay in Shem's territory, don't go anywhere else, if she's telling him to spread over all the earth. It's just something I'm noticing. Verse 21. And may your name and your seed endure to all the ages, and may the Most High Yahuwah be their sovereign ruler, and may the Almighty of righteousness dwell with them, and by them may his sanctuary be built unto all the ages. Blessed be he that blesses you, and all flesh that curses you falsely, may it be cursed. Verse 23. Now this is an interesting verse. And she kissed him and said to him, May Yahuwah of the world love you as the heart of your mother, and her affection rejoice in you and bless you. And she ceased from blessing. Now, for her to say, and her affection, is referring to the feminine part of the Most High. Or else she would say, his affection rejoice in you, but she said her. And she's not referring to herself either. There's books been written about the Almighty, the Shaddai, and the feminine aspect of the Creator. And I'm going to leave it at that. That's something that we explore and talk about in community. Come join us if you want to study with us and learn more about that. Now, the next thing that happens is Isaac is going to bless Jacob. All that was Rebekah. Now for the father. See, because he's getting ready to leave. Okay, Jubilees chapter 26. And in the 7th year of this week, Isaac called Esau, his elder son, and said to him, I am old, my son, and behold, my eyes are dim in seeing, and I know not the day of my death. And now take you hunting weapons, your quiver and bow, and go out to the field and hunt and catch me venison, my son, and make me savory meat, such as my soul loves, and bring it to me that I may eat, and that my soul may bless you before I die. Now you have the context for the story. I mean, Jubilees has prepared you for this event in a way that Genesis does not. So you get a different impression from the stories. The stories in here are not that dissimilar. Okay, verse 3. But Rebekah heard Isaac speaking to Esau, and Esau went forth to the field to hunt and catch and bring home to his father. And Rebekah called Jacob her son and said to him, Behold, I heard Isaac your father speak unto Esau your brother, saying, Hunt for me, and make me savory meat, and bring it to me, that I may eat and bless you before Yahuwah, before I die. And now, my son, obey my voice, in that which I command you. Go to your flock, and fetch me 2 good kids of the goats, and I will make them savory meat for your father, such as he loves. And you shall bring it to your father, that he may eat it and bless you before Yahuwah, before he dies, and that you may be blessed. And Jacob said to Rebekah his mother, Mother, I shall not withhold anything which my father would eat, and which would please him. Only I fear, mother, that he may recognize my voice and wish to touch me. And you know that I am smooth, and Esau my brother is hairy, and I shall appear before his eyes as an evildoer, and shall do a deed which he has not commanded me, and he will be wroth with me, and I shall bring upon myself a curse and not a blessing. And Rebekah his mother said to him, Upon me be your curse, my son, only obey my voice. And Jacob obeyed the voice of Rebekah his mother, and he went and fetched 2 good and fat kids of the goats, and brought them to his mother, and his mother made them savory meat, such as he loved. Now remember, this is from a prior video, that Abraham clearly gave Rebekah instructions and said, you shall make sure Jacob gets the blessing, period. And that is what Rebekah is doing. Verse 11. And Rebekah took the goodly raiment of Esau her elder son, which had been with her in the house, and she clothed Jacob, her younger son, with them, and she put the skins of the kids upon his hands on the exposed parts of his neck. And she gave the meat and the bread which she had prepared into the son of her hand Jacob. And Jacob went into his father and said, I am your son. I have done according as you bade me. Arise and sit and eat of that which I have caught, father, that your soul may bless me. And Isaac said to his son, How have you found so quickly, my son? And Jacob said, Because Yahuwah, your sovereign ruler, caused me to find. And Isaac said to him, Come near, that I may feel you, my son, if you are my son Esau or not. And Jacob went near to Isaac his father, and he felt him and said, The voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau. And he discerned him not, because it was a dispensation from heaven to remove the power of perception. See, that's not in Genesis. I put it in bold here. And he discerned him not, because it was a dispensation from heaven to remove the power of perception. And Isaac discerned not, for his hands were hairy as his brother's Esau's. So he blessed him. And he said, Here you are. Are you my son Esau? And he said, I am your son. And he said, Bring near to me, that I may eat of that which you have caught, my son, that my soul may bless you. And he brought near to him, and he did eat, and he brought him wine, and he drank. And Isaac his father said to him, Come near and kiss me, my son. And he came near and kissed him, and he smelled the scent of his raiment, and blessed him, and said, Behold, the smell of my son is as the smell of a full field, which Yahuwah has blessed. And may Yahuwah give you the dew of heaven and the dew of the earth and plenty of corn and oil. Let nations serve you and people bow down to you. Be ruler over your brethren, and let your mother's son bow down to you. And may all the blessings wherewith Yahuwah hath blessed me and blessed Abraham my father be imparted to you and to your seed forever. Cursed be he that curses you, and blessed be he that blesses you. And it came to pass, as soon as Isaac had made an end of blessing his son Jacob, and Jacob went forth from Isaac his father, he hid himself, and Esau his brother came in from hunting. And he also made savory meat, and brought it to his father, and said to his father, Let my father arise, and eat my venison, that your soul may bless me. And Isaac his father said to him, Who are you? And he said to him, I'm your firstborn, your son Esau. I have done as you commanded me. And Isaac was very greatly astonished, and said, Who is he that hunted and caught and brought it to me? And I have eaten all before you came, and have blessed him. And he shall be blessed, and his seed forever. And it came to pass that Esau heard the words of his father Isaac, that he cried with an exceeding great and bitter cry, and said to his father, Bless me, even me also, father. Verse 30. And he said to him, Your brother came with guile, and has taken away your blessing. And he said, Now I know why the name is named Jacob. Behold, you have supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and now he has taken away my blessing. Well, Esau actually really did give up his birthright. And I just want to say that Jacob's name does not mean supplanter. I've done a video on this. If you want to go see the video on Jacob's name, go watch it to find out what his name means. No one's going to name their son heel supplanter. I just want to say that's not what he got named, because if you go read Isaiah, there's verses in Scripture where he was in Jubilees where he was told what his name was going to be. Okay. Behold, I have made him your ruler, and all his brethren I have given to him for servants. And with plenty of corn and wine and oil I have strengthened him. And what now shall I do for you, my son? And Esau said to Isaac his father, Have you but one blessing, O father? Bless me even also, father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac answered to him and said to him, Behold, far from the dew of the earth shall be your dwelling, and far from the dew of heaven above. And by your sword you will live, and you will serve your brother. And it shall come to pass, when you become great, and do shake his yoke off your neck, you shall sin a complete sin unto death, and your seed shall be rooted out from under heaven. Now, the ending of this is not in Genesis. You shall sin a complete sin unto death, and your seed shall be rooted out from under heaven. That's not in Genesis, but it's in Jubilees, and that's just, we should talk about that Monday night. Verse 35, and Esau kept threatening Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. I mean, look at what he was just told. And he said in his heart, May the days of my mourning for my father now come, so that I may slay my brother Jacob. He didn't like what Isaac pronounced over him. Now we're to Jubilees 27. So he sent to Laban. Rebekah calls Jacob and sends him to Laban. Verse 1. And the words of Esau, her elder son, were told to Rebekah in a dream. And Rebekah sent and called Jacob, her younger son, and said to him, Behold, Esau your brother will take vengeance on you so as to kill you. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice and arise and flee to Laban my brother, to Haran, and tarry with him a few days until your brother's anger turns away, and he remove his anger from you, and forget all that you have done. Then I will send and fetch you from there. And Jacob said, I am not afraid. If he wishes to kill me, I will kill him. But she said unto him, Let me not be bereft of both of my sons on one day. And Jacob said to Rebekah his mother, Behold, you know that my father has become old and does not see, because his eyes are dull, and if I leave him, it will be evil in his eyes. Because I leave him and go away from you, and my father will be angry and curse me. I will not go. When he sends me, then only will I go. And Rebekah said to Jacob, I will go in and speak to him, and he will send you away. And Rebekah went in and said to Isaac, I loathe my life because of the 2 daughters of Heth, whom Esau has taken him as wives. And if Jacob take a wife from among the daughters of this land such as these, for what purpose do I live further? For the daughters of Canaan are evil. And Isaac called Jacob and blessed him and admonished him and said to him, Do not take a wife from any of the daughters of Canaan. Arise and go to Mesopotamia, to the house of Bethuel, your mother's father, and take you a wife from thence of the daughters of Laban, your mother's brother. And Yahuwah Almighty bless you, and increase and multiply you, may become a company of nations, and give you the blessings of my father Abraham to you and to your seed after you, that you may inherit the land of your sojournings, and all the land which Yahuwah gave to Abraham. Go, my son, in shalom. So Isaac does send him away. And Isaac sent Jacob away, and he went to Mesopotamia to Laban, the son of Bethuel, the Syrian, the brother of Rebekah, Jacob's mother. Now, the next section is left out. And I thought it was interesting because here we have a husband going to comfort his wife and show tenderness and love, and it's not in Genesis. It is in Jubilees. And it came to pass after Jacob had risen to go to Mesopotamia that the spirit of Rebekah was grieved after her son, and she wept. And Isaac said to Rebekah, my sister, weep not on account of Jacob, my son, for he goes in shalom, and in shalom will he return. The Most High Yahuwah will preserve him from all evil, and will be with him, for he will not forsake him all his days. For I know that his ways will be prospered in all things, whither he goes, and he will return in shalom to see us, and we see him in shalom. Fear not on his account, my sister, for he is on an upright path, and he is a perfect man, and he is faithful and will not perish. Weep not. And Isaac comforted Rebekah on account of her son Jacob, and blessed him. See how beautiful that is? And it's not in the other book. Now we have something that's in the other book, but not Jubilees. Esau marries an Ishmaelite. And see, again, Jubilees doesn't tell you, all the stories of Ishmael, and that's telling you not even telling you the stories of Esau. Okay. So continuing on in Jubilees, Isaac, in verse 19. And Jacob went from the well of the oaths to go to Haran on the first year of the second week in the 44th Jubilee, and he came to Luz on the mountains, that is Bethel, on the new month of the first month of this week. That would be, we're back again at New Year's Day. And if you watch our calendar episodes, you'll see that we actually do celebrate New Year's, because lots of things happen on the first year of the year, the first day of the year. This is one of them. And he came to that place at even, and turned from the way to the west on the road that night, and he slept there, for the sun had set. And he took one of the stones of that place and laid it under the tree. He was journeying alone, and he slept. And he dreamt that night, and behold, a ladder set up from the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven. And behold, the Malachim of Yahuwah descended and ascended on it. And behold, Yahuwah stood on it. And he spoke to Jacob and said, I am Yahuwah Almighty of Abraham your father, and the Almighty of Isaac, and the land whereon you sleep, to you will I give it, and to your seed after you. And your seed shall be as the dust of the earth, and you shall increase to the west, and to the east, and to the north, and to the south. And in you and in your seed shall all the families of the nations be blessed. And behold, I will be with you, and I will keep you wherever you go, and I will bring you again to this land in shalom, for I will not leave you until I do everything that I have told you of. 5. And Jacob awoke from his sleep, and said, truly this place is the house of Yahuwah, and I knew it not. And he was afraid, and said, dreadful is this place, which is none other than the house of Yahuwah, and this is the gate of heaven. Now, when it says dreadful there, there's words, the King James has, how awesome is this place? I don't think it was dreadful. It was just awe-inspiring. And Jacob arose early in the morning, and took the stone which he had put under his head, and set it up as a pillar for a sign, and he poured oil on top of it, and he called the name of the place Bethel. But the name of the place was Luz at the first. And Luz means light, by the way. And speaking of light, watch the bearing fruit part 2 video, because it's got light in there. The word light comes up in a really cool way. And I want you to notice that Jacob is having his dream, and Bethel was once called Light, the city of light. Okay. Now Jacob makes a vow. Verse 27. And Jacob vowed a vow unto Yahuwah, saying, If Yahuwah will be with me, and will keep me in the way that I go, and give me bread to eat, and raiment to put on, so that I come again to my father's house in Shalom, then shall Yahuwah be my sovereign ruler. And this stone which I have set up as a pillar for a sign in this place shall be Yahuwah's house. And all that you give me, I shall give a tenth to you, my Almighty. Now my thought is, just what is our Mashiach giving to us when he came? He is the true bread of heaven, his Ruach Emet, a truth, to keep us. He promises raiment to those who overcome a stone with our new name on it, and they get to enter New Jerusalem in Shalom. See, he's saying, if you give me bread to eat, Yahusha is the true bread of heaven, and raiment to put on, we get a garment, so that I can come again to my father's house in Shalom, into the city of light of Luz. It's set it up as a pillar, and shall be the house of Yahuwah. I want you to look at the crossover here and the symbolism of it. So here, Jacob is already putting out the thoughts for Yahuwah to have a house, and he affirms the 10% tithe to that house based upon Yahuwah fulfilling what he has asked. See, Jacob doesn't give 10% now. He doesn't give 10% along the way either. He only gives 10% when he returns home and when Yahuwah has done what he said he was going to do. That's when the tithing happens. Okay. So, we're still in the same pattern that we've talked about before. And this is the end of the video. That was the end of the chapter. And I so enjoyed this episode and getting started back again in Jubilees after having a week off. I look forward to seeing you on Monday night for the discussion. On Monday night. If you've not considered, if you want to join our discussion group, the information is in the description of the video. We have some interesting word studies that have come out on watchmen and watchwoman. Make sure you see those. Watch the word study on Zakar. It's going to be really good. And just add to that and help cement your understanding of Jubilees and what these words are meaning and who the people are. I hope you've enjoyed that. Please like. Please leave a comment. It really helps YouTube to promote the videos. And I look forward to speaking to you Monday night or seeing you next week for the next set of chapters. Shalom.